Because naturescaping is a lot more holistic than a simple list. And, frankly, I don't really agree with the attract birds and butterflies part. It's more attract everybody, a Noah's Ark of animals so that they all take care of each other, eating them.
That's right.
And so that's...
Because that's one of the things that I loved about your work. And sure, maybe I'm thinking maybe my guests would be like, wait, I thought you were just talking to artists. And Beth, you are a practitioner of landscape design. But there is an artistic aspect to that.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things that I found so attractive about the Naturescaping Workbook is that you are really looking at the whole picture. You're looking at it as a system. So you're not just looking at the butterflies like you were just saying. You're looking at all of the natural beings that may be coming into your yard, whether you know it or not, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we don't know. That's the point. The point of departure where I decided to teach this class and then write the book was that nature was doing it right. And we aren't. We have a lot of waste, and homeowners pay a lot of money, and they spend a lot of time, and it's still high maintenance. And so nature uses no gardeners, per se, except for the animals.
And the banana slugs for us here as the mulchers. And
exactly. Yeah, it all works out so that if you have everybody in the garden, they all take care of each other. That's kind of, that works also if you follow the 3 naturescaping principles of having a diverse landscape. You can't have a monoscape, a monoculture of grass, for example, or even highly hybridized vegetables that have lost their diversity within the species. You can't have that and also have a naturescape. You can have a little bit of it all, but you can't have acres of a monoscape and expect for everything to take care of each other, because there's just not the habitat for everybody. So you have diversity of plants, diversity of heights, and different kinds of habitat. Even a log put on, or it can be plywood, just laid on the ground. You lift that up after a week or so, and you've got a lot of life down there. That's what we're talking about.
That's right. And so what are the other 2?
Okay, so the basic 3, let me see if I got this right. So welcome all wildlife is 1. Right plant, right place is huge. And then love your soil.
All right. So let's break down each one of those. We talked a little bit about the making sure that you're inviting a diversity of species and not getting stuck in just a garden with some roses kind of thing.
Exactly.
Which is going to take a lot of water up, a lot of pesticides to keep out the weeds. All of these things are not good for the earth, not good for our environment.
Exactly.
So we've got that. Now, the right plant for the right place.
Yeah, there's a way of doing it that landscape designers have been using that principle forever. And before all this, I contended, before I wrote the book or taught the class, I contended that good design is natural, organic, sustainable, if you will, because you are not taking a plant and putting it in a situation where it is stressed out. That's kind of what we do now, the old-fashioned traditional way. Let's get a plant from Siberia, or let's just say,
well, one of my big pet peeves is bringing grass from Ireland or wherever grass started and transplanting it to our lawns, and it's taking all of our clean water, not all of it, but a large amount of clean water is going to feed a plant that doesn't live here normally or couldn't live under the conditions in which we have.
Exactly. We have our plants on life support. We have the wrong plant in the right place, if you will, because this is a gorgeous place. But by doing so, in introducing these plants that are not suited to our environment, our big environment, which is the summer drought, that is how we have a problem. We create our own problems that needs synthetic fertilizers to stay alive, and needs pesticides, because these plants cannot stave off disease the way the ones that have grown up in this kind of environment can. So it goes for living with our drought, which is our kind of limiting factor here. It's not that we have a long cold season like Bend, Oregon or something, where they have, I believe, 90 growing days in the year.
Whoa.
Maybe, you know what? I think it's even less. I think it's something like 45. It's crazy. That is not our limiting factor. Our limiting factor, obviously, is water.
We've got, 9 months of growing? I mean...
Yeah. Possibly
I mean, it's why
11.
our agriculture is so great here.
Exactly.
And that we can do strawberries 9 months out of the year.
Three crops of strawberries, not just one. So drought is what we're dealing with. So let's have the plants that deal with drought, first of all. And so we have the plants from the 4 other Mediterranean areas of the world. We have the Mediterranean, we have South Africa, we have the coast of Chile, and we have Southwest Australia that have those 90 days or so of absolutely no rain. So those are great plants. Everybody knows that.
So that's what is kind of the essence of when they say a Mediterranean climate, is that it's 90 days of no water.
Mediterranean climate, not necessarily 90. It just means a real extended drought every single year.
Right.
So those are the places. But then so having what I call appropriate plants is number one. So if we're going to have any imported plants, let's go with the ones from those regions. And number 2 is natives. There's a great argument for using native plants. And I have to laugh, because when I'm looking at native plants, for picking them out, Googling a botanical name, trying to get photos for a PowerPoint presentation or something, inevitably I'll get a beautiful photo, but it's from a nursery in Germany or England, and it's our native plants. Those people appreciate the beauty of our native plants, unlike us. For some reason, we've kind of decided, like, oh yeah, there's no, they're not garden worthy.
Well, I have to tell you, Beth Young, I like I had already just said, I'm really against grass. But I understand why people like grass, especially when you have little kids that like to run around, especially in the front yard or backyard.
Yep.
So I went through a period of research. I guess this was about 20 years ago when my kids were little tots. And I really wanted to find a grass that was drought resistant, that was soft, that they could roll around in, and that I didn't have to mow. That was my big thing.
Great.
Because
you were ahead of your time. Go ahead.
And would you believe the one that I found was our native grass, a red fescue, here in Ben Lomond. And I love that grass so much because, again, like I said, it doesn't itch. It's kind on little tender feet. I didn't water it very much at all. And it grew beautifully, and I never cut it.
Isn't that great?
The red fescue
That's a perfect
is
example.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful grass.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to replacing what I have now. Since we moved to the west side, we did have the stereotypical yard, and I'm slowly but surely getting the whatever grass that was, because now it's all weeds, because I don't use fertilizer, and I don't use, so it's just happening.
So that was a monoculture of non-native grass that could not stave off disease or weeds. Isn't that interesting?
Or handle the sun. I mean, luckily it rained on Sunday and Monday, because otherwise my yard was just brown, and I have a hard time using our clean water to water that lawn.
Well, that's another part. I go in the book. I go into details of all your options. Let's talk about lawn a little bit. From just not watering in the summer, letting it go dormant. There's Olympia, Washington would hand out signs, because they're the Northwest, but they have that summer drought, that would say that you can just put on your lawn and say, shh, I'm just sleeping. I'm not dead.
That's right.
So you put that on your lawn, and then you're cured. The neighbors
don't hate you for not taking care of your lawn.
Exactly.
Right? I'm gonna have to get one of those signs.
I love it. And it's just a change of mind. And then there is a book called the Organic Lawn Care Book, I believe it's called, by Paul Tukey, that talks about feeding your lawn in an organic way. So it can be done. When I first entered on Google years and years ago, synthetic lawn plus or lawn plus organic, I thought, I'm not going to find anything, and I found him and his book.
Now, you also help people design a way to capture, let's say, rain.
Yeah.
And use that.
Yes.
For feeding their garden. So
yes.
Let's see. We've gone through two of them. We did the right plant for the right place.
Yes.
Looking at it systemically. What would be the third?
The third one is the feed the soil, which I can talk about a little bit. But I think what Santa Cruz is really concerned about is rain, and I think we've heard it before. We've had droughts before. And that's when all the research came out on drought-tolerant plants. So that's a great way of going about it. But if you already have plants that you love, I mean, it's kind of...
The roses.
Yeah.
That need the water.
You might think about moving them around, or else diverting your rainwater from your downspouts to those roses with a piping, outdoor pump piping, or you could try to store it, but it's really hard to get enough water for all of that. Now, what people are doing these days is gray water, because that is year-round water that's good for the plants if you use the right type of soap. And so you can just divert your water easily from your washing machine to your roses, for instance.
So gray water is basically water that's been used, potable water that we drink.
No. It's water from laundry only.
Right, but it comes in clean water.
Oh, yes. You continue. Sorry.
Yeah, so it goes into the washing machine clean and ready to drink.
Yes.
Just like it does in our toilets, which is another pet peeve of mine. And so then it washes out. You do your laundry. Then you're taking the water that's been used, and you're diverting that from going straight into your either septic system or your sewage system, depending on where you live.
Okay, yeah.
Because up in the valleys, they have septic. So anyway, so you're diverting that from going directly into used water.
Yep.
And using that for your lawn.
Yeah, well...
or for specific plants.
Yeah, I think drip irrigation is a better way of doing it. Yep. So,
and the drip keeps the water under where the roots are, and so it doesn't evaporate as quickly when you're...
spray into the air, right.
Which is wasteful.
Yeah. So right now people can do laundry to landscape easily. It's legal, and it's quite easy. Just this past weekend at the Scotts Valley Garden Fair, I helped out set up the Ecological Landscaping Association's display garden, where we actually did the piping. We brought a washing machine out there, and we had it run through the cycles, and then we just had a simple piping system. I was surprised at how easy it was. And what the fun was, when that water came, we were out there almost in the middle of nowhere, at the soccer field, and we had this free water, basically, but wouldn't be used otherwise.
Yeah, would just been a waste. Beth Young, where can I buy your book?
All right. The Capitola Book Cafe has asked me to sign a whole lot of copies.
Well, you did do you read at the bookshop, or Capitola Bookshop. And again, it's the Naturescaping Workbook.
Yes.
And so they have a whole pile of them. There's a couple at Bookshop Santa Cruz.
Yep.
And then you have some. So
I do.
If somebody wanted to talk to you directly, what would be the best way to contact you?
To get a book before I move away, and to get a signed copy, best to email me, Beth at bygardendesign.com, and we'll set up a place probably at Vino Cruz where you can get your book.
And what is your website?
www.bygardendesign.com. That's the website for my company, landscape designer.
Beth Young, BY, landscape design.
bygardendesign.com. And then there's a book website, www.naturescapeyouryard.com. And because this is a workbook, I decided to put every one of the worksheets on that website so that you can easily just print it out, and it's you can put it into your binder. The book walks you through the process, because it walks you through the process, and so that's why I figure you need a binder and you want to just have all those sheets. Yeah, this was based on a class that I taught, so that's why it's a step-by-step guide.
And so, Beth Young, am I looking at a year to convert my yard to something that's more ecological and for me?
I think that's a reasonable way of looking at it. It starts off by saying know your place, and by that I mean know your nearby nature. So you can start off by taking hikes. That's your first assignment, and just see what all the environments are around here. And then you learn what the plants are. You go on group hikes where you can say, what is that beautiful thing? So you get a little plant list of all these great natives. The other part of that is that you are going to study and map your own yard.
And that also includes what kind of bugs come in for us here. And on the west side, we get a lot of monarch butterflies. That might be something that I want to help support.
Oh, definitely. So that's one process you can do over the summer. You might design over the summer, and in the fall add a lot of organic material to the what are going to be beds, or maybe smother your lawn and make that into a bed.
So this is the third aspect that we were talking about, feed your soil.
Yes.
And so this is when we're going to start looking at how to feed the area in which we want to plant in.
Oh, yeah. It's crucial. So this feed your soil is nothing new, but we know so little about that life below our feet. E.O. Wilson, Harvard biologist, has estimated that we know 3% of what's down there.
Whoa!
Yeah, and this is because these intricate relationships are destroyed when we enter the soil, even with the tiniest of microscopes. We are down to single-cell animals. And so
the microbes,
yes,
and the ecosystems in which these microbes live in. And
the crazy, you could make, I believe Star Wars creatures got their, somebody must have been looking at soil creatures, because there are some amazing land movers. I mean, they're maybe moving a tiny, tiny speck, but they look like, they're carrying something on their back. And the worms are like the active guys. Sometimes you just have ones that just sit there. Sometimes you have huge blobs that they don't appear to be doing anything, but they are doing an ecosystem service that we don't even know what it is. We don't know this stuff. We really don't. We know more about the cosmos above than we know about the soil below. But we do know what they love to eat, and that is organic material. So what we have been doing, the traditional way of gardening, is to remove organic material as soon as it falls onto our beds or our grass.
Blow that baby away.
Exactly.
At 7 o'clock on Saturday morning.
Oh, that's your pet peeve. So what I encourage is that you have your lawn areas, maybe reduce them and then have them grow them organically, and then rake the leaves, organic material, onto your beds. So you have this thick layer. I did that one winter, and you can do it any time of year here. Just create a thick layer of mulch. Mulch is anything that was once alive. Hair, dead bodies, anything. Just think about it. It's just anything that was once alive. That's the only thing you need to know. That's mulch.
Well, there's some better things. I hear horse poo, chicken poo is supposed to be the bomb. Bat, guamo, they call it.
Yeah. That stuff is almost more, yes.
It's not mulch. That's more fertilizer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that can be a little dangerous in a, what's the word? In
large
condensed.
quantities. Oh, condensed.
Yeah, like poop is, it's a lot of nutrients condensed. You want more like the other, either spread that out among other organic materials, or just go with the ones that don't seem to be giving off any sort of nutrients, but they really are. They're given you're getting your major nutrients: N, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and then also calcium and magnesium, the minor nutrients. That's all in, for example, wood chips. But it can be dog hair if you know somebody who works at a dog grooming place. It can be, mix it up with something else so it's not disgusting. Wet
I was
dog
just
hair.
having that picture of tufts of dog hair. But this is a great thing for our friends that do have dogs. They can just sweep that dog hair out and put it under your roses. And
the way I see it, I do a lot of cooking, and I like to cook from scratch. And so you end up with a lot of leeks, right. For example, have a lot of greenery. So I bought that greenery at a very high price. So I'm going to keep those nutrients in my yard. I figure everything that I buy or bring into my house, I want it to go into my yard and feed them. So I don't have to buy.
So you create a compost place in your...
What I do is I have a compost pile. It's nothing great. I'm not very good about allowing animals into it and out of it. I don't really care if, this sounds terrible, I don't even care if there are rats in and out. I don't have a problem with vermin. I guess if I really did, I would build an owl box, and then problem solved. So that's how I look at things. Anyway, so you said compost pile. I do the simplest way of doing it. I just keep the green to brown ratio about right, 2-to-1, and I keep it moist, the moisture of a squeezed sponge. And the rest of it, I just kind of leave the organic materials on my beds. So my ground cover is not a living one. It is a past living one. It's not exactly dead either, because it's got a lot of organic material in it.
Oh, Beth Young, gosh, our time is coming to an end. But I want to make sure everybody gets the information about the NatureScaping Workbook. I love your book, and I have just reading the first chapter and getting my homework has been so much food for thought for me, and how our family is going to build a new lawn that is going to attract all the living creatures that we want. I have to think about that, but which ones we want to attract more than other ones, and like you're saying, and how to repel the ones that come with it in a way that reduces the need for pesticides and fertilizers, and reduces the need for maintenance, and really just be able to enjoy our yards. Beth Young, you can find her book. Both we talked about it at the Capitola Bookshop. You can go the cafe, the bookshop Santa Cruz. You can email me. Email Beth
at bygardendesign.com.
You can also go to bygardendesign.com and get the information there that you want. And it's a step-by-step guide for bringing nature to your backyard for even those people such as myself that are not the best gardeners. I thank you so much, and good luck to everything.
You, Nada.
Your future is bright.
Thank you, Nada.